Hi, my name is Daviera Hoje and I'm here to present my psychology and film assignment. The film I chose is Finding Nemo from 2003, and the character I'm focused on is Dory. As a broad description, Dory is a real blue tank who is friendly, optimistic, and very persistent. She quickly forms a bond with Marlin and commits to helping find his son, Nemo. Throughout the movie, she struggles to hold on information for long, which affects the journey, but she stays warm, determined, and socially engaged. The film takes place on the Great Barrier Reef and the open ocean, an environment that's often dangerous. Fish have to remember routes, recognize threats, and keep track of the group to stay safe. In a setting like this, forgetting directions or dangers can lead to risky situations. At the same time, reef life is highly social, and survival often depends on cooperation. Now, moving to Dory's diagnosis, here's the disorder that best fits her symptoms. For Dory, the best fitting diagnosis is anterograde amnesia, meaning she has major difficulty forming new long-term memories. People with this condition can remember older information but cannot console their new experience to lasting memories. In the MS-5 terms, a persistent deficit like this would fall under neurocognitive disorder, especially involving impairment in the learning and memory domain. Dory's behavior met this pattern. She stays alert and socially engaged but repeatedly lost new learning information. Next, I will explain how the film cultural settings affect the diagnosis. In Dory's Reef and open ocean culture, the environment is generally dangerous. Because memory is critical for surviving these settings, like remember predators, roads, and groups playing, her forgetting creates big day-to-day risks. Culturally, the fish around her do not have formal mental health care, so they often interpreted her memory loss as a personality quirk. That cultural view could delay recognition. However, if Dory went to a therapist within that culture, the diagnosis would still be anterograde amnesia because the deficit is lifelong and clearly affects functioning. Now, let's look at how disorders is recognized across cultures. Memory disorders like anterograde amnesia exist worldwide because they are brain-based. Across cultures, the core problem shows up in similar ways. What changes how cultures label memory loss, what meaning they give it, and whether people seek treatment or rely on family support. Morbury found that dementia-related stigma is higher in some cultural diverse groups, and it's linked to slower help seeking. So cultures may interpret it different, but the core memory encoding deficit remains the same. Next, I will talk about cultural stigma linked to memory disorders and how we see it in the film. Across cultures, memory disorders often carry stigma because they are linked to assumptions of incompetence. People may underestimate what someone with memory disorder can do or treat them like a child, reduce autonomy. Stigma can also delay help seeking. In the film, some characters view Dory as helpless, even though she can function well with the right support. Now we present the first symptom Dory shows with a scene from the movie. The first symptom Dory shows is rapid forgetting the new learned information. The DSM describes as anterograde patterns forgetting new events as they occur, which we see here. In this clip, Dory tells Marlin which way the boat went, but seconds later she forgets she already said. This happens repeatedly throughout the film. McGee's research supports this pattern, showing people with anterograde amnesia lose new information very quickly, especially after a brief distraction. Next is the second symptom, again supported by a film example.
But now we know, don't we? And we don't want to touch these again. Let's be thankful this time it was just a little one. Don't move. This is bad, Dory.
The second symptom Dory shows is losing new goals or plans once attention shifts. The DSM describes memory impairment as difficult holding new learned information in mind after eruptions. In the jellyfish scene, Dory gets stung and Marlin tells her to go, don't touch the jellyfish. She agrees, but when more jellyfish appear, she forgets the rule and reads again. This shows how quickly a new plan appears after distraction. Cohen and Enchenbaum found that anterograde amnesia disrupts relational memory, so new links between context and intention don't stick. Now I will point out a symptom that is weakly shown in Dory. A weaker symptom in the film is severe constant disorientation. In real anterograde amnesia, people can become consistently lost in new environments, but Dory isn't always disoriented. She may get distracted, yet she travels long distance with Marley and oriented using cues. So compared to her rapid forgetting, the movie shows limited evidence of ongoing disorientation. Next, I will outline a treatment plan that would be appropriate for Dory's condition. Treatment would be focused on memory rehabilitation through compensatory strategies. A key method is spaced retrieval, practicing important information repeatedly over long intervals. Hence how showed space retrieval training proves recall for people with memory impairments. For Dory, this would be a pair with a habit of writing down important thoughts or instructions in an agenda and check it regularly, since her reason is intact. Now that I have explained the treatment plan, there are ethical concerns that came with using external support and supervision. Because Dory will rely on reminders, routines, and help from others, the biggest risk is over control. People might take over her choice for her safety, so treatment has to balance safety with autonomy. Support should help Dory stay orientated, not infantilize her or remove her independence. Clinically, that means reminders and guidance should involve Dory's consent and choice, not forced supervision. Next, I will explain barriers that might prevent Dory from receiving proper treatment. Dory faces real barriers to treatment. The ocean is dangerous, so memory lapse carry higher risk. Some characters underestimate her, which can reduce support, and there is no formal care system in her ward, so she can access structured rehabilitation. Her progress depends on whether friends provide consistent cues. Clinically, without formal care, treatment relies heavily on informal helpers. Next, I will outline a treatment plan that would be appropriate for Dory's condition. Treatment will be focused on memory rehabilitation through compensatory strategies. A key method is space retrieval, practicing important information repeatedly over long intervals. Hence how showed space retrieval training proves recall for people with memory impairments. For Dory, this would be a pair with a habit of writing down important thoughts or instructions in an agenda and check it regularly, since her reason is intact. Finally, I will discuss how portraits like this shape public understanding of disorders. Film portraits shape how people understand disorders. Dory is shown as lovable, capable, and supported rather than feared, which reduces stigma and builds empathy. The movie helps audience to see memory loss as real and impactful, but not something that erases a person's identity. Here's my reference for the assignment. Have a great week.